And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, the videos are done. I hope you enjoyed that short break as we have returned with our next series of the night with our first quarterfinals match to determine who advances on to the semi-finals here. And it is going to be a bit of a team kill. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our blue Zerg player from the land of Germany, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss, representing Shopify Rebellion, as this is a team kill from the land of the Netherlands. It is Harstem. Here we go. Harstem, of course, moving out with that first probe, forcing the unnatural natural out of Lambo. As we're easing into our early game, so far nothing too crazy. We're setting up for a gate expand from Harstem. We're setting up for our hatch gas pool from Lambo. But as a reminder, these two, they aren't just teammates, but they're good friends as well. And both Harstem and Lambo are very familiar with each other. And this can lead to some weird games. I was speaking earlier about how Harstem can be very stylistic in how he plays. Likewise, so can Lambo. As a result, both players are very familiar with each other, and yeah, they can hard counter each other. They can use that to their advantage and kind of mind game each other and then mind game the mind games. That's all on the table here for both Lambo and Harstem. They don't often face off, at least outside of practice. So I'm excited to see how they compare against each other. In general, I would say that Lambo is the higher rated player. He is more in form. But because of how familiar these players are, because of, again, the potential mind games, Harstem definitely has a good chance here to bring Lambo down. It is not clear-cut. Not at all. As for now, we're just working towards that mid-game. Cybercore is about to finish up. We can soon pick our check of choice based on the pylon placement. I imagine this is going to be a Stargate open out of Harstem, going into Oracles once again. But even if we open up Oracle, we can still go into a couple of different directions in the mid-game. And there it is, Stargate first, into Oracle production from Harstem. Very standard opener from our red Protoss. Very standard play. Again, as we saw against Nickish, this should be triple Oracle. We should be harassing with a couple of adepts early on. We'll see if we commit or not, as the first adept is moving out. He's going to be moving out across the map. We've already seen that Harstem is willing to play Blink Stalkers. He's willing to play Charged Archon as well. As two Lings do slip in, the wall, not a wall, and Lambo, he will get a free scout of the main base. He gets eyes on the tech, gets eyes on the Stargate, and does confirm the first unit, confirms the Oracle that's on the way. So again, really nice scouting here out of Lambo. Does slip in. Oh my god. Doesn't quite get a probe. Good control out of Harstem. Does keep his mineral line safe and sound. And will be forcing out these Lings. Meanwhile, the other adept that was across the map is racing back home, making sure that the third base isn't molested, isn't, harassed by any means. And the third base should get up and running without too much issue. Lings have arrived. Can we dive on top of the probe? Oh. We do get in. The probe is spotted. We do dive on top of it. We do commit, and we do get a kill on that worker. Very nicely done by Lambo. Will delay that third base. Meanwhile, across the map, the Oracles have arrived. We get 2 drone kills, and we take a lot of hull damage, actually. Oof. A lot of damage dealt there. 2 set Oracle. Second Oracle's on the way. Once again, Lambo, he wants the probe. Oh my god. He will delay, but he won't get the worker. Does delay, but only a couple of seconds before being thrown down. Harstem has got his third base on the way. It was delayed. There was a bit of chaos ensuing at the third. But it is on the way nonetheless. Meanwhile, Harstem focusing now on his aggression. Now up to 2 Oracles. Third is on the way. There's that Twilight Council. No Forge. This should be Blink. Should be Blink into delayed Forge into delayed +1. But because of the delayed upgrades, we'll have an abundance of Stalkers to work with. A lot of Stalkers will be available. Assuming Harstem goes to the same build. Again, to reiterate, if this was any other player, I would assume it's Glaives, but there you go, it is Blink. So, the same build we saw against Nikic in Game 1, if you do recall. Meanwhile, Adepts, they do threaten a shade. Fourth base has been spotted. We can't really do much about it, unfortunately. Yeah, we do force a recall. One Adept goes down. The other two do make it back home. Roach Warren on the way. So Lambo, he's not being too greedy here. He's going for a safety Roach Warren, just in case it is charge. Or not just that, but also to incorporate roaches in general. Lings move out. They do get eyes on the Stalkers. Blink not quite done. No shield battery either. But we will be forced back. Harstem will lose any Stalkers. Does take down an Overlord. And Harstem is soon to move out. Again, the purpose of this build, the purpose of delaying the Forge and delaying the upgrades is for extra warp-ins, and Harstem should be pushing with these Stalkers. And you may think, hold up, aren't they a little bit exposed? I mean, Blink is going to finish in a couple of seconds, and there are Oracles to support from the skies. The Oracles, they will deter any kind of links around. As the army moves out, Lambo, he's moving in. There is a shield battery, thankfully. At Lings, they don't find much damage. Meanwhile, Harstem going to be threatening that fourth base. So let's get quite a bit of damage on those queens. Chipping away at the hatchery. Ling's getting ready for a surround. Stasis Trap is not going to get baited out. Whew. Does finish in time. Stasis Trap does catch a lot of those Lings. Yeah, we cannot commit. A brutal fight there for Lambo. Very efficient out of Harstem. Able to pull back. Ooh, meanwhile, we're going to be going Ling Roach into Mutas. Bold move against a Blink Stalker opener. Very bold, but so far unscouted. Behind this, Charge Lot Archon on the way for Harstem. He's getting out of Blink into charge. +1 flyer attack is on the way. Big commitment there for Lambo. He wants to invest quite a bit into these Mutas. The Oracles! Oh, they do not get in. They are zoned away. They do not get into the natural. They do not spot the Spire. A little bit distracted by the main army. 14 Mutas on the way. We're committing quite hard. Now, I don't believe we can take a head-on fight because of the Archons. But we can avoid the main army and we can go for probes. Meanwhile, Stack Defense is on the way. Big revelation here in the middle of the line. We do get eyes on the Spire. Harstem, he sees, he knows. Cannons, shield batteries on the way. Phoenix production has commenced. Big moment for Harstem, but is it too late? That's the question. That is the question. Here we go. Mutas, they do head straight for that natural. Shield battery is ready. Yeah, overcharges pop. The Stalker does survive. So far, solid defense out of Harstem. Does go for a kill on the Stalker, but the Stasis Trap goes off. The Lings do get caught out, and so far this has not been worth it for Lambo. Mutas are going down. At the same time, a Ling Roach push here at the fourth base. We can break through the shield battery at least. Shield battery goes down, but it takes far too long. Harstem does rotate in time. We'll force back Lambo. And Harstem, he's holding. Oh, I spoke too soon as an Archon gets picked up. Yeah, we can focus our attention on the fourth base. One Archon falls, a second Archon as well. Good pickups here by Lambo, mainly losing Lings. The Mutas don't quite push in. We have additional Mutas on the way. Transitioning into Lingbane Roche here instead. How many Mutas? We're on 21 Mutalisks, but we're cutting at 21. And again, the hope is to distract this ground army. Oof. We lose another Muta. To lose another Mutalisk. There you go, Lambo rolling on forward. Banelings are headed for the mineral line. The main army is distracted. We get in. Banelings, they do crash in, and so far decent splits here out of Harstem does avert disaster. But 13 probes go down. Meanwhile, every single muta gets cleaned up. A big catch here from Harstem. Cleans up all the mutas at the cost of 13 probes. And Lambo, he's done with mutas. He's remaxing here with more lings, more roaches. He's on 93 workers. He's maxed out. Harstem is pushing. Is going to be pushing here as we collapse on the army, pick up a couple of those stalkers. Again, time is working on Lambo's side here. He does engage. He's going to be bleeding out a lot of lings, but he gets on top of the Archons once again. Good biles. Good biles here on those Immortals. The stalkers are going down, and Lambo, he has more than enough. He cleans up the army. Harstem does overextend. Did amazingly cleaning up those mutas, but here in the push, just didn't have the support he needed. The Zealots, where were they? They were harassing instead. They do get 8 drone kills, but Lambo, he can afford to lose 8 workers. Can afford to lose it. Hatchery goes down. But Lambo is still maxed out. Harstem is down at 80 supply. He's trying to work towards a Skytoss transition. We have +1 air attack on the way. I say that, I mean, we don't quite have another Stargate. +1 air attack, I believe, was supposed to help the Phoenixes, but we don't really care about those anymore. He's trying to build up his ground army, but there's almost nothing here. 2 Archons, 1 Immortal. Storm isn't done! Storm, not quite done. The High Templar, they do nothing here. And we're pushing in towards the natural base. We're zoned away from the third. The third has been compromised. Harstem going in for Zealot harass. But he's going to lose the base. He's going to lose the third. Zealots coming in from left-hand side. We are doing damage to the economy. That's true. But it may not even matter. It may not even matter here. Yeah, Zealots are pushing in. Banelings, they make it back home. We'll clean up these Zealots. 22 probes go down. And Lambo is getting picked apart. Earlier, he wasn't in a bad position, but again, that counterattack just was not it. And GG gets called. Lambo snowballs out of control and will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, the mutas honestly weren't quite worth it for Lambo. Initially, Harstem was looking good. He was able to deter the mutas. He was able to minimize losses, minimize damage. He was able to shut down the mutas. And he felt like he had momentum. After he cleaned up the muta cloud, after he lost 13 probes, he had a good army. Like, he had a comparable army to that of Lambo, but the attack itself was lackluster. The attack itself, Harstem did fumble it a little bit. Unfortunately, he didn't have the zealot he needed to reinforce to keep on pushing, and Harstem did overextend. From that moment, Lambo was in control of that game. He was in control, he shut down the army, and honestly, if you were looking at the worker counts, even after losing 13 probes, Lambo wasn't all in. Like, he didn't have to be all in, he didn't have to commit as hard as he did. He just felt like he had an opportunity, but he wasn't quite able to break through. And with that, Lambo, he ran away with it. And now we're getting into our next game. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the German Zerg player leading the series 1-0, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Protoss from Land of the Netherlands down in this series, looking to fight back. Also representing Shopify Rebellion. Again, they are teammates, they are good friends, forced to face off against each other for our entertainment. It is Harstem. Here we go. But what I will say, even though Lambo is leading this series, it's not like game 1 was overwhelmingly in his favor. Remember, just to reiterate, the muta switch and the muta investment wasn't worth it. It wasn't really worth it in the end for Lambo. He lost everything, wasn't able to gain too much with it. It was the follow-up from there that went beautifully for Lambo, where Harstem was kind of caught out, was maybe not expecting such a big investment into a ground army, was not expecting so many roaches. And from that moment onwards, Harstem was in a lot of trouble and was vulnerable to the counterattack. The counterattack that ended the game, where Lambo was able to kill the third, was able to take control of the natural, and snowball out of control. guess what I'm getting at here is that, again, that was all like on the knife's edge, and we can see an ace match, and I would love to see an ace match. I'd love to see Harstem force a game 3, regardless of how this goes. I would love a full series here, but not on me. The pressure is now on Harstem. Here we go. As we are just working on this. So we're just going hatch gas pull from Lambo. Likewise, Harstem going for a gate expand into the Cybercore. Nothing too crazy. Again, Alcyone is known for its longer macro games, so wouldn't be surprised. Oh, we do get something a little bit more macro oriented. This wouldn't be a bad map for mutas. I'm not too fond of going mutas 2 games in a row, I'll be honest, as we do get a bit of a pause. Looks like maybe some Uber Eats has arrived. Maybe there's a technical issue. By that I mean maybe there's like a cat on the keyboard. It happens. Okay, there we go. Looks like the issues have been resolved and we are getting back into our game. Thankfully, there was an issue when there wasn't anything happening. Like, there was no intense micro, there was no fight going on. And Harstem is going for a Stargate. It's going to be a Stargate opener. We go. For now, we are just going to be building on up. We have a third hatchery on the way. Again, with the Stargate opener, should be triple Oracle into a third. As we mentioned before, this map is conducive to like longer games, to the mid game, to the late game. It isn't the wisest of choices to be hyper aggressive, so Twilight Council openers aren't seen too often, and as a result, aggression isn't seen too often either in the early game. Depths have arrived. They do pick off a couple of lings. Good movement by Lambo. Does avert disaster. Does avoid damage. Depths are being forced back. Harstem behind this. Throwing down his gateways. Getting set up here at his natural. Oracles are moving out. The question becomes, I imagine Harstem once again is going to be opening up Blink. I'm not too fond of the Blink with delayed Forge on Alcyone. I did just talk about how I'm not really... aggression isn't really favored on this map, so I imagine Harstem is going to deviate away from his opener from game 1. His first Oracle has arrived. Dipping into the third, getting 2 drone kills. Oh, getting a third. Very nice. Gets 3 drones back. So does get eyes on the mined mineral patches, so we are aware that Lambo is looking to expand on the right-hand side. As we have our second Oracle joining the fray, and a third Oracle on the horizon. Again, triple Oracle into a third. There's that Twilight Council. Has been thrown down. We'll keep an eye on the timing of the Forge. So far, though, no Forge in sight. This looks like Blink once again. Does look like Blink. Overlord Scout is going to be coming in. Lambo getting a read on the follow-up tech. Eventually, there we go, he does end up floating towards the main, gets eyes on the Twilight Council, sees the lack of Forge, and should know it's going to be Blink. As Blink is being researched. Again, I'm not too fond of this from Harstem. Basically, this build is delayed upgrades. Delayed upgrades from Harstem. He's going to be quite aggressive and quite assertive with Stalkers in the mid-game. I just don't know how much he can really achieve with it. But we'll see. We'll see if he can make some magic happen. As Revelations are thrown down, 2 more drones get picked off. So far, pretty efficient play. He hasn't lost an Oracle yet, thankfully. Meanwhile, interesting play out of Lambo here is taking all of his gases. He's going straight for the lair. And he's being quite greedy. Joining up quite heavily here, just investing into the minimal amount of lings before working towards roaches. Oracles dip in. They get 3, 4, 5 drones at the third. Very nicely done here out of Harstem. Again, Harstem has lost 1 probe and he's killed 10 workers so far. Oh, but I spoke too soon because here come the Lings. Yeah, they collapse here on the army, on the gateway units. Ooh, at the same time, Ling run by here across the map. Tries to get damage done. Doesn't get much though. Doesn't get a probe. And here we go. Harstem is pushing. Remember, we're going to be reinforcing. We have 4 gateways, warping in 4 stalkers at a time. And Lambo, he's being caught with his pants down a little bit here. We spoke about how greedy he was, and was he too greedy? 1 queen goes down, a 2nd queen. There's no energy for transfuse. We're going to get a 3rd queen as well, and we're snowballing out of control. Lambo, he has roaches and lings in production, but he's in so much trouble. He's under so much pressure right now. Queens going down one after the other. We're going to get every single queen, and there's 1 left. 1 queen does remain, and it goes down, and Harstem, he's breaking through. I was worried that the aggression wouldn't work on Alkione because of how defensive it is, but Lambo was too greedy. He will survive though. He will force back the army. What's important, he may have lost every queen. Lambo may have lost every queen, but he retains his economy. His drone count is still decent. 4th base, getting up. Ooh, and we're getting into Swarm Hosts. Okay, Nidus, Swarm Host Nidus here from Lambo. Very interesting. Not something that I was expecting with that infestation bit, not gonna lie. This is a way to be really efficient, right? Like energy-based units, Swarm Hosts essentially being energy-based units. They can get a lot of value. Harstem coming in, it does get eyes on the Nidus Worm. He is aware. Nidus Worms are on the way. Revelation does confirm the Swarm Hosts. The Nidus is going to be finishing up. Stormers, they do get scouted. Big pig, also we get 1. 1 Stormers, we force the Locust Wave as well. A very nice catch here out of Harstem. Harstem, he has the economic lead. But Harstem, he's caught out of position. This Nexus, oh, it's going to be focused down. That's a kill, not a cancel. A kill on the Nexus. Fungal connects, but we don't quite connect with those biles. Nidus does finish up. Locust Wave towards the 3rd. The army is in position. Good target firing. We get 5 probes. 5 workers go down. The aggression of Lambo does continue. He's trying to force Harstem to stay back at home to make sure that Harstem doesn't counterattack. Very aggressive moves here from Lambo. The roaches, the mispathing. Bit of mispathing there. A lot of roaches get caught out. Nidus does finish. It's going to be shut down. And we have more Nidus Worms on the way. Harstem desperately wants to counterattack with this War Prism. But can he ever leave? Nidus is spotted. Zealots are harassing across the map. They get a couple of drone kills. Lambo doesn't have the best economy. Bear that in mind. Collapse on the Nidus Worm once again. Not the best of trades as we do bleed out a couple of Stalkers, but the Nidus does fall. Lambo just continuing to get them up and running. Harstem is pushing. He knows he has the army advantage right now. For the time being, Lambo is trying to transition into Lurkers. Hydras are on the way. Lurker Den just finished. We get more Queens! Queens are going down. And Big's the warp it into the main base. We do have roaches in position. The Nidus Swarm has been scouted, has been spotted, but here comes the main army here of Harstem. Locust Wave comes in. The Nova. Good connection on the roaches. We have 2 more Novas behind this. Big stasis trap as well. Harstem, he's got an opportunity. Does have an opportunity to push in. We can keep on going. Lambo, he is maxed out. Stasis Trap is about to run out as well. We're amassing Roach Hydra. No Lurkers yet, but they will soon be on the way. Another Nova does graze the army. Lambo pushing his way forward. Oh, big connection on the Roaches once again. So far, really good control here out of Harstem. Does rotate around. We dive on top of those disruptors. It looks like we can focus them down. Ooh, but not without a cost. Big blow here to the army, and Harstem, he's taking this fight. Yeah, he will clean up every single Ravager, every single Hydra. Where are the lurkers? They're not here. And Harstem, he has done it. He's broken the third base. GG gets called. Harstem ties up the series 1-1. We're going to the ace match. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, Lambo being a little bit too greedy on Alkiona. He was caught with his pants down. He sustained a lot of damage to the first push. From there, he tried to recover with his Swarm Host. The Swarm Hosts were okay, but they never really dealt any economic damage. They killed 5 probes, when ideally they should be killing bases, they should be eviscerating mineral lines. These Swarm Hosts needed to gain more value, and they didn't. Of course, Harstem knew that he had the army lead. Again, Lambo, he was trying to transition into something quite different. He was trying to transition... Oh. He was trying to transition into lurkers, but just wasn't able to get there. Wasn't able to get to that lurker tech in time. And with that, we're going to game 3. We are going to the ace match. Let's go. Let us go. Meanwhile, do we have any other updates so far? We do. We already have some players waiting in the semifinals. Once again, it looks like MaxPax has bled. He did end up losing a game to, or he ended up dropping a map to Battle B. He drops a map to Wayne as well. Again, really cool to see players like Battle B and Wayne leveling up and going toe-to-toe with MaxPax here in the round of 16 and in the quarterfinals. It's great to see, but can they be stopped? That's a harder question to answer. Well, that's a harder task to fulfill. Taking maps is great, but taking series, that's a little bit different. Regardless, speaking of taking maps, we're here in the ace match. We're here in game 3 and spawning in the top left-hand corner, going for a 15-15. We have the German Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Protoss representing Shopify Rebellion as well. They are good friends. They are teammates. It is Harstem. Here we go. Again, Lambo with a very safe opener. For those that are curious, a 15-15 is a 15 hatchery into a 15 spawning pool. What this leads into is delayed gas. Delayed gas is delayed droning. You do have a slightly worse economy, but it's a safer opener because you're able to expand where you wish. You're able to take this natural base as your expansion. Unfortunately for Lambo, Harstem didn't even go for a probe scout. Didn't even scout with his worker, didn't try and delay the expansion, so Harstem opens up safely like this, but I could have gone hatch gas pool and would have been fine anyway. So good mind games out of Harstem. Able to have a slightly more efficient start. And from here, looking to go for another Stargate opener. Based on the pylon placement, again, it's closer to the edge of the main. Scouting is a lot easier for Lambo here, but it also means that this Stargate is closer to Lambo, which means less travel time between base to base. The Oracle does get across the map that much faster and can potentially get an extra drone kill as a result. Every second does count in StarCraft. Every second does count, and with this, we're going to be settling on into this game. No major deviations yet. We're just going to be saturating our bases. We're just going to be focusing on getting in towards that mid game. And eventually moving out with our Oracles and Adepts of choice. There it is, Oracle first out of Harstem. Adept should soon be moving out. Harstem hasn't seen anything. I mean, to be fair, there's nothing to see, but Harstem doesn't know that. So it is a little bit risky, a little bit greedy to play like this. The Adept's going to be staying back at home. Even revealing a Zealot here to the Overlord. Does cancel in the end. Oracle is moving out. The Overlord will confirm what's going on. Does get eyes on the Stargate. Beautiful. Here we go. As the Oracle does get across the map. Huh. Dips into the main base. Ooh, there is no Spore. Only one Queen. Second Queen pops out just in time, and we get a lot of hull damage done on this Oracle. 3 drones will fall, which is good damage for Harstem. But he has to be very careful with this Oracle. Cannot lose it. Cannot throw it away. So a decent start from our red Protoss. Still on a knife's edge. Second Oracle does arrive, joining up with the first. Shields are regenerating, and we're going for a second dive. And this third is looking very exposed. Oh my god! 2 drones go down almost for free. Basically for free there. As Lambo was out of position with his queens. We're following this up with, once again, Twilight Council, 2 gateways. I don't see a Forge. This is the same build as game number 1. Which means we're going for, once again, Stalker aggression from Harstem. Lambo should be more ready for this. He should be more prepared. He should not sustain as much damage as game 1. But we'll see. As Oracles, they come in from multiple angles. 2 more drones go down. Lambo, he will deflect this though. He will defend. Ooh, is going Ling Bane. Okay. Interesting. Is going to be going Ling Bane here against Harstem. Depending on how many Lings, that's the real question. How many Lings will we have to defend, as we are focusing on droning for the time being? Harstem warping in extra waves of Stalkers. Again, he's on 4 gateways. Stalkers are moving out to reinforce. Meeting up with the Oracles. And thankfully, Lambo is making 18 Lings. Okay, he will have Lings and Queens to defend. He should be okay against the first push. Harstem investing into that Forge a little bit faster than we've seen previously. Is still applying pressure. Going for another warp in of 4 Stalkers. There's up a lot of creep. Gets eyes on the 4th base, but here comes Lings for a surround. Yeah, the Oracles are paying attention. Does force a recall. Oh. And not a single Stalker does fall. So good trades. Good trades out of Harstem. He reinforces. Blink is about to finish up. Oh, but I spoke too soon. Blink still 10 seconds away. But the Oracles are here to support. As you can see, Lings cannot touch these Stalkers. Not off of creep, not when Oracles are involved. Which is why Roaches are typically needed here to support the army, or at least a lot of Queens. But Lambo is focusing on just Lings and Queens to defend. Lings, once again, they do get a surround. They do try to get a surround to this army. 1 Stalker goes down. We get a 2nd Stalker as well. Not too bad. Harstem being a little bit greedy here. Gets a Queen, gets away with it. Behind this charge, 4 more gateways, 8 in total. Here comes that 4th base. Now, ideally, this aggression from Harstem would keep Lambo busy, but Lambo, he has breathing room. He goes for a big link counterattack, and he will collapse on this Nexus. Looking for a cancel. And it looks like he will get a cancel on this Nexus. We get a full surround. Harstem, he's just a little bit too little too late. The base will fall at the same time. Ling's also hitting this 3rd. Lambo having a hard time keeping up here. Shield battery goes down. Probes are falling as well. This is becoming too much. This is becoming far too much. Harstem, he's held up here against the army, and he will lose everything at the 3rd. We get 11 probe kills. And suddenly Lambo's in the driver's seat. He's going Ling Bane Hydra behind this. Hydras are on the way. He's successfully defended with pure Ling Queen. Yeah, pulling Harstem apart. He goes straight for the Nexus. He has +1 melee. He will force another cancel. Harstem perpetually stuck on 3 base economy. He desperately needs that 4th. But Lambo, this is not his final form. Again, he's still building up, amassing more and more Hydras back at home. Zealot Rumbai comes in. They do spot the Hydras. And they get a couple of queens. A couple of queens will fall. Oh, Harstem is going to get the hell out of here. Lambo, he wants the Archons. He wants them. Unable to get on top of them, though. Hydras, they stutter step forward. They focus on one of the Archons. They're going to get the other as well. Big pickoffs here. Expensive losses for Harstem. Does come in with more Zealots, but good stutter stepping out of Lambo. He does kite back, takes out every single Zealot, and now he's going for the Archon. And he gets the final one. Loses the Oracle as well. And Harstem has just been bleeding out too much. GG gets called. There's not even a final fight. The writing is on the wall. And Lambo will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the semi-finals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Lambo for taking down Harstem 2-1. Again, it was very impressive that Harstem was able to force that A smash, but yeah, again, here in game number 3, Harstem just wasn't able to get the momentum he was looking for. He went for the same build 2 games in a row. This is the problem with going for these very specialized builds, is that if you do it once and it works, that's great. But if you do it again in the series, your opponent is more mentally prepared for it. Lambo was so much more ready for it. He wasn't being too greedy. He didn't drone up too much. He was investing in Lings. And the Stalkers didn't deal anywhere near as much damage. He was able to shut it down, counterattack, and pull Harstem apart. GG, well played. A solid series out of Lambo. And not a bad series out of Harstem either. Really great to see him go back and forth with Lambo. It was beautiful to see and beautiful to witness. And now we're getting ready for our next series of the night. Do we have our semifinals ready? We do. Here we go. We're going to be following Lambo into his next series. It's going to be another ZvP. Lambo versus Mana. Oh my god. I haven't seen these two face off in quite some time. I'm ready for it.